Hi, welcome back to Heart of Gold. I am Paul Chartier. We have new friends on for this episode from the Kentucky State Park Foundation, Nick Vaccaro and Jim Lobb. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
They're the ones that are dressed up. And in state parks, ties aren't allowed, so I don't know what's going on. But you look nice for the taping.
Oh, thank you.
Nick, you're new to the program. Your office is in Louisville. The state parks are a gem in Kentucky that people don't utilize enough. Tell us about your story.
The Kentucky State Parks Foundation is a relatively young organization. It's a 501c3, IRS designated foundation, and only been around since 2007. So you wouldn't think that, because you're right, the state parks are really the gem of the state. And since they've been around for so many years, you would think that they would have a foundation that supports them as well. But it's only been around since 2007. The mission of the State Parks Foundation is to enhance, protect, and advocate for and connect people to the natural and cultural resources of the state parks through two basic concepts, and that's friend raising and fundraising. The foundation raises money to then provide grants back to the parks for items that are needed but are not supported by the Department of Parks because they are taking their time and resources for operations. And so we support the educational, historical, and cultural aspects of state parks.
Jim, what do you have to say for yourself?
Well, I've been thrilled to be involved with the Kentucky State Parks Foundation. You know, everybody growing up in Kentucky has a childhood story about one state park or another. Mine is that I grew up in Campbellsville, and we spent summers there at Green River Lake. Since then, as you said, the parks are the hidden jewel of the state. You can go here in our state and see eagles live and in the wild. You can raft wild waters. You can take a raft up to the base of Cumberland Falls. There are hiking trails. You can see bear, not from too close a distance. But there's anything and everything to do at the parks, and it's a resource that we absolutely have to protect, and that's what the foundation's mission is, to find friends, to help nourish, cherish, and advocate for our parks.
Any idea how many visitors since you've been involved? Is there a growing trend to vacation here in Kentucky, or what do the numbers look like to you?
One of the surprises that we found is that there seems to be a drop-off of visitors from inside Kentucky, but there's an increase of visitors coming in from states surrounding Kentucky. Kentucky has a park system that's unsurpassed in this part of the country, and in fact, at a time when other states are closing their parks or charging admissions fees or cutting back on services, Kentucky has worked hard to toe the line and keep the parks accessible to folks. Now, we're separate from Kentucky State Parks. We have a different mission than the parks, and when we spend money, we don't spend money to help parks buy trucks or maintain rooms. The money that we use and spend on the parks is more to enhance the experience. For example, we have spent money to buy GPS units so that you can get more kids to come to the parks, get away from their Wii's, and go hiking out in the woods in geocaching. We've spent money building trails down to, well, for example, at Kentucky, I'm drawing a blank, down at my old Kentucky home, we built
the walkway
trails
to the
down
slave
to
cemetery.
Slave cemetery.
Made it handicap accessible.
Exactly.
Significant things.
Significant things. One of the stories that we like to tell is one where there was a hand in glove working between the Kentucky Parks and the foundation at a time when John J. Audubon had an opportunity to acquire one of the rarest pieces of work. Kentucky Parks had a choice to make. They needed to refurbish the building there to put in equipment that would help maintain the collection they already had, and they couldn't afford to do that and buy this very significant piece of John J. Audubon's work. It was a limestone printing plate, if you will, for one of his earliest lithographs. And so the foundation stepped in and purchased that, again, to enhance the experience of people going to that park, but also to make sure that a very rare artifact that needs to be in Kentucky stayed in Kentucky.
What's the challenge to entice more Kentuckians to take advantage of some of the things that you're doing at the parks?
That's a really challenging question.
I mean, you're putting money.
We deal with that all the
You're
time.
making things nicer,
Right.
and it's a simple thing. You know, we all take advantage or overlook our backyard and take it for
Overlook
granted.
Right. Take it for granted.
But others think it's fantastic.
People come in from the surrounding, as Jim said, people come in from the surrounding states and come to our state parks and think, wow, this is incredible. It's so much better than what we have. And yet we have Kentuckians that live right down the road from one of the parks, many more parks than other states have, and yet they don't visit. And through the grants that we've been able to provide to purchase cultural, historical items, we have tried to really enhance the experience that people receive, that get when they visit the parks, because there's got to be the realization there that when you're at the park, you have an incredible experience, and it's not just for boating or camping or hiking, it's for education, and that's why we, as Jim mentioned, we participated in supporting the program for buying GPS units so that students, when they come on a field trip, can go through the park and find different items through their hike, or build a educational building that has photographs or pictures, something that gives them an educational experience so that visitors know that there's much more to our parks than what they thought maybe 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. It's a real challenge to get people to recognize that. And with the Department of Parks being a completely separate entity and really concentrating on the operations of a park, as Jim said, they're paying staff salaries, they're buying trucks, they're paving roads. They really need our help because it's the educational and cultural resources that we need to support, because those are what people, they expect operations when they show up to a park. It's the extra, it's the icing on the cake of those experiences that they get when they're at the parks that we help to provide.
What kind of feedback are you getting since you started to say, I went to the parks in the 80s or 90s and they were okay. Now I'm going, wow, things are different. I mean, are you having that kind of impact yet?
We're having some good impact. We're a young organization. We're 6 years old. And in addition to raising funds and providing services to the parks, one of the critical missions that we have is to help establish friends groups for the parks, individual community groups that will advocate for the park or the historic site in their community. When we talk about parks here, there is a misnomer. The park system covers 51 properties. 17 of them are lodge parks, but there are a number of historic sites too. For example, Whitehall is one of those historic sites. Daniel Boone Park obviously would be a park. Lake Barkley would be a lodge park. So Kentucky Parks covers all those kinds of properties. And in each case, we've been working with local groups to help build advocacy groups on a local level so that they can work to protect their particular park or historic site. The Parks Foundation, though, does much more than that. Our goal is to create these umbrella groups to protect individual parks, but to serve as the umbrella itself, the overall group that can bring these individual groups together in mass to advocate and protect the park system as a whole.
Can you please share your website and phone number for people that want to find out more about the foundation?
Certainly. Website is KentuckyStateParksFoundation.org. You can also find us at 502-716-7286, extension 2. That's me. You get me. If you're interested in supporting, we have a wonderful supporter program that you can participate in for a donation of only $25 or more. You become a supporter. Many benefits at the state parks. You get discounts on lodging, discounts at gift shops, discounts at the fitness center, discounts at golf. So we would love to have some support, both in donations and also in volunteers. So if you're interested in volunteering, please let us know.
Like I said, this airs through the generosity of Channel 27 WKYT, and it airs on Channels 3 in Lexington and 14, and we have a Facebook page. So I would ask you to take this Facebook link and blast it out statewide to everybody you know, to let them know the great things you're doing, because it boggles my mind. And I've been to the state parks. It boggles my mind. You can go down to Barkley and you feel like you're in a different country with
Right.
that massive body of water.
Absolutely.
And you think, this, with the sun coming up and the fog on the lake, you think,
Right.
where am I? This is fantastic. So you're into creating experiences.
Creating memories, family
Creating memories.
memories. That's what it's all about.
So this is a challenge. What kind of support are you getting?
We're getting good support. Again, we're a young organization, so we can always use more support. At the moment, we are looking for two things. As Nick mentioned, obviously, we take money, small amounts, large amounts, and this is a direct plea for that. But just as important, we're looking for friends. We're looking for supporters. Our thought is that we want to build an army of Kentuckians, of people in surrounding states, people who care for the parks, people who cherish and want to advocate for them, and will come and join us. And the best way to do that is to go to our website, join us as a supporter, get the benefits that Nick mentioned when you come to visit the parks, get our newsletter, listen to what's going on, tell us what you want to have happen to the parks, and become a force with us.
In the last minute, take it away.
Kentucky State Parks have been around for a very long time, and we're here to see that they're here for a long time coming. We know that we have a huge challenge in front of us. We know that this isn't a short campaign. This is long term. And so we're here for the long term. And anyone who would like to support us, please join our cause, because we're raising things from the ground up.
One way you can do that, in addition to what we've already mentioned, is the Kentucky Gives Day campaign.
Definitely.
The ladies before us mentioned that. That is a single day, massive online fundraising effort, and a lot of nonprofits have joined in on that. We're one of those groups, and we'd love for folks to come look at our website, visit our web page on that day, and join us there, give money, sign up to support us.
Gentlemen, it's been a pleasure having you on. You're making a difference. The parks become part of who the visitors are, and they carry that
Definitely.
torch and pass it on. Thank you very much. We'll do what we can to help. I'm
Thank you.
Paul Chartier. Thanks for joining. This has been Heart of Gold. See you next time.